Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're looking into a really deeply unsettling story. It happened in the village of El-Setamouny, Egypt, back in March 2025.
Yeah, it's the case of Fatma, who was 35, and her much younger lover, Mohamed, only 19. Their affair tragically ended with them murdering Fatma's husband, Syed.
It's quite shocking. And for this deep dive, we've pieced things together from quite a few YouTube video transcripts. These are in Arabic and English.
That's right. Things like news reports as the story broke, really emotional interviews with Syed's family, and crucially, updates from the court proceedings.
So our goal here really is to get past the shocking headlines. We want to try and understand what drove them to this, what were the motivations, how did it all unfold?
And also the impact, right? The effect it had on their community.
Yeah.
We're aiming to give you a full picture, but one that's, easy to follow.
Exactly. It all started, or at least came to light, in October 2024. Syed, Fatma's husband, was found dead just out in the street.
Yeah, severe head trauma, multiple stab wounds. It was brutal. And Fatma. At first, she played the part of the grieving widow, crying, distressed.
Right. So the investigation naturally begins with her.
Of course. The police interviews, initially, she was all tears, saying Syed was a good man, innocent, painting this picture of her husband of 18 years, father of their 3 kids.
Okay, but something didn't sit right.
Apparently not. There was one officer, pretty observant, who noticed inconsistencies. Maybe her grief didn't seem quite genuine, or her story had holes. It was enough to make them dig a bit deeper.
And that's crucial, isn't it? That one observation.
Absolutely. It stopped the investigation from potentially just, accepting her story at face value, and it led them to uncover something significant.
The affair.
Exactly. The affair with Mohamed, this 19-year-old agricultural worker.
Yeah.
And it seems Syed, the husband, had actually found out about it, or at least suspected strongly.
Ah, okay. So major tension in the marriage then. That adds a whole different layer, a motive.
A powerful one. And the police were smart about it initially. They kept their interest in Mohamed quiet while they gathered more information.
So when they did finally question Mohamed, what was his reaction?
Denial.
Uh-huh.
Straight up denial at first. He even tried to pin it all on Fatma, saying she was responsible.
Interesting. Trying to save his own skin, but that didn't last.
No. Once the police confronted him with the evidence they'd gathered, he broke down, confessed.
And his confession wasn't just about him.
Not at all. He basically laid out the whole thing, pointing the finger squarely at Fatma as the planner, the instigator.
So according to Mohamed, Fatma started the affair.
That's what he claimed. Initiated it, lured him in. And then, this is the chilling part, he said she was the one who suggested killing Syed.
Why? What was the reasoning?
To avoid being exposed, to avoid divorce, losing the house, the kids, everything. He said she saw murder as the only way for them to be together.
Wow. So she masterminded the whole thing, according to him.
That's his story. He detailed how she told him Syed's schedule, his route to work. The plan was an ambush near the farmland.
And she was going to be there.
Yes, present during the attack. That was part of the plan he described.
That's incredibly cold-blooded. And the attack itself, what did Mohamed say happened?
It's horrific. He said when the attack started, Syed turned to Fatma, expecting help from his wife.
Aww.
And instead, Mohamed claims she stabbed him. Then told Mohamed to hit him over the head with stones. Repeatedly.
Turning to her for help, and she attacks him. That level of betrayal is just hard to comprehend.
It really is. It gives you a terrifying glimpse into his final moments.
Let's talk about Syed for a moment, the victim. What do we know about him?
He was 35, a farmer. Married Fatma back in 2007, so they'd been together 18 years.
A long time. And they had 3 kids?
Yes, including a daughter, Asma, who was 17 at the time. On the surface, they seemed like just a normal, quiet family in the village.
And Syed himself, what was he like?
By all accounts, a really hardworking guy. Responsible, peaceful, very focused on his kids, especially Asma, and their future. Seems like he was the anchor of the family.
Okay. And Fatma? Outwardly, she was the wife and mother.
Yes. Managed the house, took care of the children, all the domestic stuff. But the sources suggest that underneath that, she wasn't happy.
Dissatisfied.
Felt unfulfilled, yeah. Wanted something more than the life she had, apparently. This routine existence.
And that's where Mohamed came in, this sense of dissatisfaction.
It seems like it. The affair reportedly kicked off around mid-August 2024. Mohamed, just 19, same age as her daughter, actually.
Wow. Quite the age gap.
Huge. And he was described differently from Syed. Tall, handsome, maybe a bit flashy, liked attention.
A contrast to the steady farmer.
Definitely. He had a bit of a reputation in the village, too.
Yeah.
A ladies' man, maybe a bit reckless.
So how did it start?
Seems pretty mundane, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Glances at the market. That they swap phone numbers.
And it escalated quickly.
Yeah, by September 2024, they were deep into secret calls, late-night texts, all hidden from Syed and the kids, obviously.
The secrecy probably fueled it, right?
Very likely. That thrill of the forbidden. Then came the secret meetings, late September.
Right.
Initially, in a livestock courtyard under their house. Kind of risky, but private-ish. Mohamed apparently got nervous there, though.
Yeah, so they moved it.
Inside, into the family apartment itself. When Syed was at work and the kids were at school. A massive escalation.
Bringing her right into the home. And how was Fatma acting towards Syed during this time? Late 2024.
She started pulling away, became cold, unaffectionate. Reports say she refused intimacy, even locked their bedroom door at night.
That couldn't have gone unnoticed.
No. Syed definitely got suspicious. By January 2025, he was noticing how secretive she was with her phone. He actually started checking it when she was asleep.
Okay, so he knows, or strongly suspects, the pressure must be mounting on Fatma now.
Exactly. Fear of discovery, fear of divorce, and that fear, that desperation, seems to be what led her down a much darker path.
Which brings us to this really disturbing idea she had.
Yeah, in early February 2025, she apparently suggested that Mohamed should propose marriage to their 17-year-old daughter, Asma.
Propose to her daughter? Why on earth?
The logic, supposedly, was to give Mohamed a legitimate reason to be around, to be in their house, part of their lives, without suspicion.
That's incredibly manipulative, using her own daughter.
Shocking, isn't it? Shows how desperate she was becoming to keep this affair going and hidden.
What did Syed say? He must have rejected that instantly.
Absolutely. Vehemently. He knew Mohamed's reputation, thought Asma was way too young. It just caused more fights between them.
And Fatma reacted how?
She actually left home for a bit, end of February. Tried to pressure Syed, maybe, but it backfired.
Made him more suspicious.
Exactly. He started seriously considering divorce at that point, according to the reports.
So she came back.
Briefly, yeah. Early March. Syed had hurt his leg, a minor injury, was laid up. Fatma returned, saying she was there to care for him and the kids.
But things weren't okay between them.
Not at all. The trust was completely gone. They slept in separate rooms. He took her phone away. He wouldn't even eat food she prepared. He clearly knew something was deeply wrong.
He didn't trust her at all. But she still managed to contact Mohamed.
Yes. She got a new phone somehow, kept it hidden, continued talking to him.
Yeah.
And it was around this time, March 11th or so, that she allegedly told Mohamed, "We have to get rid of Syed."
So the decision was made.
It seems that way. The shift from affair to murder plot.
Chilling.
And then the weapon. Right. March 12th. She asked Syed for a new axe. Made up a story about the old one being lost.
And he just bought it for her.
He did. Didn't suspect a thing, apparently. She hid the new axe in the animal yard.
So the final plan came together.
Between March 15th and 16th, they finalized it. The attack would be March 17th. Early morning, 6:07 a.m. In the animal yard. Fatma leaves the gate open. Mohamed hides inside. Fatma lures Syed out.
It's so calculated.
Every step seems planned.
So March 17th, the morning of the murder. How did she lure him out?
She went down to the animal yard, started making noise, banging around, disturbing the cows and buffaloes, then ran back up, pretending thieves were stealing their livestock.
Playing on his provider instincts.
Exactly. Knowing he'd feel obligated to check. And he did. Despite his mistrust, he went down with his phone for light.
And as soon as he opened the gate,
Mohamed attacked. Say, in that moment of panic, apparently turned back to Fatma, who'd followed him, asking for something, anything, to defend himself with.
hoping she'd help.
And instead, she grabbed a big stone, a brick, according to some reports, and hit him hard on the head.
She struck the first blow.
That's what the reports, including Mohammed's confession, suggest. Syed fell. Then Mohamed attacked with the axe and a knife. It was brutal.
Did Syed say anything?
Yes. Witnesses or later accounts mention him pleading with her. "Save me, Fatma."
And her response?
Just cold. "I want to get rid of you." Chillin'.
And someone heard this.
Tragically, yes. Syed's mother. She lived right next door. Heard his cries for help and rushed over, started banging on the yard gate.
Did Fatma react to that?
Yes. Hearing her mother-in-law, she quickly went inside, changed out of her blood-stained clothes. Mohamed used the distraction to escape out the back.
So Syed's mother couldn't get in?
No response.
Yeah.
So she immediately alerted Syed's brother, Mahmoud. He got there quickly, forced his way in, and found Syed. Found his body.
And the police investigation, it sounds like it moved fast after that.
Very fast. They found the bloodied clothes Fatma had changed out of. They found the axe, the knife with Mohammed's fingerprints. and they found that new phone they'd been using.
The evidence was overwhelming.
Completely. Faced with all that, both Fatma and Mohamed confessed to the murder.
The village, El-Setamouny, must have been just reeling.
Total shock. Disbelief, this kind of violence, this betrayal in their own community, it shattered everything.
And the daughter, Asma, she was 17.
Utterly devastated,
Yeah.
but incredibly brave. She actually testified against her own mother in court. Talked about how kind her father was, how betrayed she felt. Can you imagine?
That takes unimaginable strength, testifying against your own mother.
It speaks volumes. Meanwhile, Mohamed, in court, kept trying to paint Fatma as the sole mastermind, trying to lessen his own role.
But the evidence pointed to both.
Clearly, it was undeniable.
Yeah.
So on April 18th, 2025, the case went to the Mufti.
Which in Egypt often means...
It signals a likely death penalty recommendation.
Yeah.
And that's what happened.
The final verdict came quickly then.
Just 10 days later, April 28th. Death penalty confirmed for both Fatma and Mohamed. The judge condemned the betrayal, the brutality, called it horrific.
How did Asma react to the sentence?
Reports say she wept. Not for her mother, but for her father. Just grief for him.
And Syed's family.
Relief, in a way. A sense of justice. They'd actually held off on the full traditional mourning rituals until the verdict came down. Obviously, still immense sorrow.
What about the rest of the community? Were they unified?
Mostly condemnation for Fatma, calling her a traitor. But some apparently tried to understand, not excuse, but understand what might lead someone to that point. It was divisive in that sense.
And the children? What happened to them?
It's so tragic. Asma couldn't stay there, understandably. She went to live with her aunt. The younger siblings went to live with Syed's mother, their grandmother.
The whole family just fractured. And Syed's brother, Mahmoud.
He expressed deep regret. Wished he'd listened more closely to Syed's earlier suspicions about Fatma, maybe intervened somehow. That what-if feeling.
Yeah, that's heavy. Were there other details that came out during the trial?
A few more things, yeah. Fatma tried to claim Syed mistreated her, that she loved Mohamed, that it was self-preservation. The court didn't buy it.
And Mohamed stuck to his story.
Yep. Fatma was the mastermind. He just followed her lead. Again, didn't really hold up against the evidence.
The family's reaction to the death sentence must have been intense.
Very. They saw it as the only fitting punishment. They spoke about their ongoing pain, wanting the sentence carried out. You felt their need for closure.
And the crime scene details got clearer, too.
Yes. The reconstruction showed exactly how she lured him out, where the attack happened near the stairs in the yard. The weapons used the brick, the axe, the knife.
And that detail about the lights.
Right. Apparently, Fatma turning off the lights was a signal to Mohamed that Syed was coming out. Prearranged.
She really thought everything through, even an alibi attempt.
She tried. Locking the other kids in their room, turning up the TV and a fan loud to cover the noise of the attack downstairs.
Desperate measures. And Syed's final words? The family mentioned those.
According to them, he begged her to spare him. For the children's sake. Just heartbreaking.
Was there evidence Syed fought back?
There was. Mohamed had injuries, scratches, swelling. It suggests Syed didn't just give up. He fought for his life.
And his poor mother, hearing it all but unable to get to him.
Unimaginable distress for her. The whole community really rallied around the family. Strong condemnation for Fatma and Mohamed.
So looking back at this whole deep dive, what are the main takeaways for you?
Well, it's just such a stark picture of betrayal, isn't it? And the devastating consequences that ripple outwards. It also makes you think about, human motivation, how desire or desperation can twist things so terribly.
And the impact on the family, the community, just profound.
Absolutely. And the speed of the justice system here is notable, too. Reflects the clear evidence and maybe that strong community desire for resolution.
Yeah. So maybe a final thought for you, the listener, to mull over. What societal pressures or personal cracks might push someone towards such an extreme?
Right. And what are those long-term effects of violence within a family, within a tight-knit place? What does this whole tragic story tell us about how fragile relationships can be and how destructive deceit really is?
A lot to think about. Thank you for joining us on the deep dive.